What is up, guys? We are back. Sorry I took a little bit of a break. I truthfully had nothing to film, so I didn't film anything because there was no point. I didn't have anything to film. So today we are going to kind of show you E30 tuning in the Focus. So I went with Tune Plus. I used to have JST, but I went with Tune Plus instead, and I have reasoning behind it, so I don't want anybody to get in their feelings that, oh, you know, JST's the best, Tune Plus, blah, 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 whatever. I don't want to hear it. It was my decision to go Tune Plus. That and Plus. You know, it wasn't offered anything crazy. You know, I paid just like everybody else did. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to a secret spot. We're gonna do a couple data log pulls. I'm gonna plug that into virtual dyno, which I've heard is pretty accurate. It's within 3%, according to people, accuracy of what your actual car is. So I'm gonna plug in the E30 data log alongside the normal 93 data log, so you guys can see the difference. Now the difference between E30 and 93. So E30 is a fuel mix between 93 and 85. I'm sure pretty much everybody has heard of cars swapping to full E85 and making a ridiculous amount of power just by switching fuel. So how you get E30, you take 4 parts to 1 part. So basically it's a quarter. A quarter of your tank will be E85. So in the Focus, you have a 12.4 gallon fuel tank. That means you're going to take 3.1 gallons of E85 and, math real quick, 9.3 gallons of 93. There's calculators you can find online. I know Adam on Tune Plus actually has one. He has a calculator on his website. I'll link that in the description. So yeah, basically that's all you do. You know, you plug in your numbers on there. It'll say how much fuel is in your car right now, what your ethanol content is of that fuel. If you're just at 93, it should be about 10%. So you'll leave 10% ethanol content. You're mixing 85, so you'll fill that in, and then it'll calculate everything for you and ask you what you want your ethanol mix to be. You'll put 30, and then you'll put in. It'll tell you, how many gallons of 93 and how many gallons of 85, down to, like, I think it's the 100th decimal point, which is pretty accurate. I've done it twice now, because I've only had my E30 tuned for about a week, and I've noticed a huge, not a huge difference. There is a big difference, but it's not like you're not going to be rolling around taking down like Hellcats or anything like that. It's nothing crazy. But it is definitely worth it. We're gonna do an E30 ST versus the Focus RS. I'm really not expecting anything to come from that. Yes, the Focus makes more power. On the last virtual dyno I did, it had me at about 400 pound-feet of torque. And I don't know how accurate that is, basically just because the virtual dyno uses the data log, so your data log isn't going to show a smooth curve like it would on a regular dyno, because on a regular dyno you're not going over bumps and hills, and you don't have to worry about that on a dyno. A data log shows all of that, so it's going to look like a quadratic equation from hell if you look at a data log dyno pull. It's way up and down. Now the virtual dyno program that is out there, it offers smoothing, which that's basically just saying they'll more or less they average your peaks and your peaks and your valleys, if you will, on the graph. It'll average those out and it'll smooth it accordingly. And I think you can smooth it all the way up to 9, I think. From what I've been reading, a regular dyno jet smooths at 5, so that's what I've been putting mine at. On the virtual dyno, I put it at 5. And it gives a not a perfectly smooth torque curve, because again, like I said, you're driving on a road, you're not on a dyno. But it's relatively simple to use. So all you do is you're going to download the program. I'll link the program in the description. You download that, you take your data log off your access port, You save it to your desktop, whatever, and then you open it in the virtual dyno program. Now, when you open it in the virtual dyno program, it's not going to pop up immediately with your graph. You're going to have to go in, select your vehicle. You're going to have to put in your passenger weight. So just myself in this scenario, which actually got weighed this morning, which is kind of convenient. So you plug all that in, and then you plug in, I think that's about it. No, and then you plug in what gear you were in. So, and I believe on Virtual Dyno, you only have the option of 3rd and 4th gear. I'm pretty sure. I don't think it gives you an option for like 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, all that. So we're going to be doing 3rd gear. Now, one of the things I want to add in, Adam emailed me this morning, or yesterday actually, and he recommended that the air to fuel was good, the timing was good. You know, he basically said everything was maxed out. As much power as he could get given the turbo, the stock fuel system, and you know, everything like that. So he recommended I go out and I try doing pulls in 2nd gear, from 2nd gear. And he was going to write into the tune which traction setting I wanted. You know, in the Focus we only have 3 traction settings, which is traction control all the way on, sport mode, or all the way off. We don't have anything in between like the RS. So I went ahead and did that. I went out and I did it in normal first, and the front wheels are just slip. You know, there's no traction. I did it in sport mode, slipped again, and if anyone knows in these cars, when the car tries to correct and get traction back, it'll bring your revs back down until the car can catch back up. So I did that in sport mode, and then I did it with traction control off, and none of those helped get traction at all. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna email him back and be like, hey, don't worry, I'm not super concerned about a traction setting being written into the tune when I can just hit a button. I'm not that lazy. Sometimes I'm that lazy, but not in this case. So we are going to head out to the spot, and we'll do some pulls, and then we will end this video. So yep. It's really not that bad. I mean, E30 is nothing more than the car can handle. I don't have the front tires that come on the car, but I have the Nexen N 5000s, I think is what they are, on the front of the car. So the tires that come in the car might be a little bit better than the ones I have on the front right now, but I ran over a screw probably about 4 months ago, and so I had to get new tires. But I highly recommend E30. Talk to your tuner, see if they, that sounds like talk to your doctor. Talk to your tuner, see if they tune for 30. Most tuners do. I can't imagine anyone not tuning for it, because that'd be like a terrible missed opportunity. If they tune for E30, I highly recommend you do it. It really wakes the car up. You know, you can tune the car straight out of the box and it wakes it up, but this really wakes the car up, and it's a lot more fun. And I think it's a little bit better on mileage too, I think. But that will have to be all for this one. If you enjoyed, like and sub, share if you think anyone can use the information. You know, you're trying to convince somebody to tune E30 themselves, show them this video. Like I said earlier, we're going to be doing the RS versus E30 ST coming up soon. I don't expect big things, just because a simple fuel swap is not going to make the ST keep up with an RS. The only thing I even have a chance at is a roll, and that's a chance. So yeah, hope you like this one. Sub, like, share if you feel like doing all of that, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.